Good evening. We are headed out to get the steers fed. Look, we got the turkey over there and the cat literally eating the grain. Today we're going to talk about how these 3 steers could literally change my family's cattle operation moving forward. Well, the big thing with those 3 steers is it is the first time that I am trying out direct-to-consumer beef. I asked my dad if I could try to market those 3 steers as direct-to-consumer beef. I purchased the steers from his cow-calf operation and I'm fattening them out and I'm going to sell the beef. Now, this isn't going to be one of those situations where we sell the steer and then we have somebody take it to the butcher and they pick up the meat there. This is going to be where we're actually selling the beef, not the live animal. So there are a little bit more logistics that go into this, and there's that process. So why am I starting with only 3 head if I think it can be more profitable? Because I think you need to test it out. I think you need to test out the system. And I do believe that at the end of the day, we're going to, make more per head with these 3 steers than we would just taking our calves to the sale barn, or even if we chose to fatten some out and, sell them to the packer. And I know there's going to be a lot of people on here that say, I've tried direct consumer, it's not what it's all cracked up to be. And I do believe that it is more work than a lot of people think who get into it. And I do believe that if you're just selling the live animal and you're not actually just marketing the beef, that it might not be profitable. And if you live in an area where there's a lot of beef, like we do, if you're just selling locally, you might not get, a premium for that beef. And that's just a supply and demand thing. There's a lot of supply, which is why we're selling ours online and we're choosing to go that route. And when we get into that, there's a lot of different avenues you can go that way. There's people that do like subscription boxes, and there's people who, you can just do quarters, halves, wholes. You can just do ground. You can do premium steak cuts. There's different, breeds. Like some people like to do the Wagyu. Piedmontese is becoming, a little bit of a niche category in there. I know there's people who do Highland steaks and things like that. Ours here are, Angus. One of them is a white face, has a little bit of a Hereford in there. And that's typically what our operation has. We have a lot of red cows, so we're not doing anything crazy with our operation, changing it that way. Now, I have all the numbers written down since the beginning. I have what I paid for the steers. I have all the feed costs up to this date. Rent. We have a few months yet we got to get through before we'll actually be marketing these steers. And so I will have all of that put together and make a good, clean video for that and break down the numbers and see if this thing is profitable. And I do believe that selling direct consumer beef will be more profitable per animal. I plan to put on more content like that in the AgriSummit community as I get more education and more experience going this route. And I plan to share, that journey in the AgriSummit community. So if that interests you, check out that link in the description. That doesn't mean that we're going to abandon, like our traditional system. There's still going to be calves that, probably get sold at the sale barn. There's still going to be a portion of the animals that get sold differently. Profit system that we build out with the direct consumer system is going to change our operation moving forward. I do believe that the family ranches, the family farms, they're becoming more sparse. The investors buying out land, it makes it harder. It's harder to find pasture. I do think that instead of thinking that we just have to have thousands and thousands of head of cattle and we're only making, $50 to $200 a head, let's see if we can make more per animal. And I know right now with cattle prices being super high, people will say, yeah, it's easy to go to the sale barn and get those good numbers for your calves, and you're probably making more than that right now. But I also know that these markets will not stay here forever. And so I'm choosing to take this time now to learn this profit system small. I'm building it small and then scaling up after we have it refined. I was a commodity broker for a couple years, futures and options, LRP, and I'm an ag lender now. I see a lot of different operations making money a lot of different ways. And so just because this works in my area with what I'm trying to do doesn't mean that you won't have to refine it for your area and what you're trying to do. That is where the AgriSummit community is so valuable, because we can share within that community what's working for us and where we are located, and what local cash prices are, what the packers are bidding, and really any of those things. And heck, if you're in the AgriSummit community and you have calves that you want to sell to somebody who's a feeder, heck, if you're in the community, you're probably going to find them those buyers a little bit easier. The more we build this community, the more we help each other out, the more we help our family operations out. Because at the end of the day, the AgriSummit community is here to help build that next generation of cattle operations. We're here to work together so that we're not all trying to just survive, but we're actually all making money, being profitable, scaling, so that we can pass on our operations to our kids and their kids' kids. Small businesses work together all the time. The CEOs, they work together all the time. Why are we not doing that as ranchers, as cattle operations, family feeders? Why are we not doing that? Well, the truth is we can. And that is why we built the AgriSummit community. And that is why I ask you to check out that link in the description and join today. I appreciate y'all for watching. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate to subscribe, share with 10 friends. See you in the next one. And as always, God bless.